Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. It's nice to see you. Today I would like to present the topic on sustainable development and green economy in Malaysia. Today I would like to explain the topic on about sustainable development and green economy. These are 4 points to be highlighted in this topic. The first one, the concept of sustainability development. Number 2, dimensions of sustainable development. Number 3, green economy. Number 4, towards sustainable development and green economy. Let's start our discussion. What are the challenges of sustainable development? The world is faced with challenges in all 3 dimensions of sustainable development, which is economic, social and environmental. More than 1 billion people are still living in extreme poverty and income inequality within and among many countries has been rising. At the same time, unsustainable consumption and production patterns have resulted in huge economic and social costs and may endanger life on the planet. Achieving sustainable development will require global actions to deliver on the legitimate aspiration towards further economic and social progress, requiring growth and employment and at the same time strengthening environmental protection. Let us discuss about it. Before we go in detail about sustainability development, let me explain the chronologies towards achieving sustainability development before 1980s and after 1980s. The first stage is before 1980s. The first one in 1949, there is introducing the UN Scientific Conference on the conservation and utilization of resources, which is the first UN body to address the depletion of natural resources and their use. In 1962, publishing Rachel Carson's Silent Spring. Many consider the book's release a turning point in our understanding of the interconnections among the environment, the economy, and social well-being. Since then, many milestones have marked the journey towards sustainable development. In 1972, UN Conference on the Human Environment and UNEP. It leads to the establishment of many national environment protection agencies and the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP. Number 4, in 1980, World Conservation Strategy released by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, which is IUCN. The section towards sustainable development identifies the main agents of habitat destruction as poverty, population pressure, and also social inequity and trading regimes. The report calls for a new international development strategy to redress inequities. For the second stage after 1980s, which is in 1983, the UN General Assembly realized that there was a heavy deterioration of the human environment and natural resources. World Commission on Environment and Development, WCED, as known as Brundtland Commission, was established to unite countries to pursue sustainable development together. In October 1987, the Brundtland Report, as known as Our Common Future, was released. The well-accepted definition of sustainable development is created. Our common future which is Brundtland Report, is the report of the World Commission on Environment and Development, weaves together social, economic, cultural, and environmental issues and global solutions. It popularized the term sustainable development. So, what is sustainability development? Now, let me see this video on sustainability development. Generally, most definitions of sustainable development encompass the idea that there are three interdependent pillars of sustainable development, which is number one, environmental, economic, and social. Now, let's watch this video on economic aspect. Next, we go to environmental aspect. And lastly, we go to the social aspect. Now, let us discuss on about green economy. Do you know what is green economy? Let us watch this video.
The term green economy itself suggests an emphasis on the dual ecological and economic dimensions of a solution. But the definition provided, I think, particularly by UNEP, is one that does explicitly incorporate social goals. To quote, "A green economy is one that results in improved human well-being and social equity, while significantly reducing environmental risks and ecological scarcities, based upon a combination of low-carbon growth, resource efficiency, and social inclusivity." So in a broad interpretation, this may approximate the notion of sustainable development.
The two key convictions I can identify in the Green Economy Project are, first, that there is a triple crisis, depending on one's perspective. The first is a socio-political crisis, the second is an economic crisis, the third is a broader ecological crisis. Second key conviction is that the ecological crisis can in fact be harnessed to solve all three of them. And this is the central point. The ecological crisis isn't necessarily solved in the project, but it is used as a driver to drive a new round of economic growth.
And it's a crisis of. It's not one of those that we can simply manage in the old way, but is a fundamental challenge to our ways of thinking about crises, of crisis management.
We would argue that the green economy paradigm is very much within the sort of crisis in the system framework, whereas the global justice thinking is looking at this as a crisis of the system. So it's a much more overarching systemic critique.
What does green economic looks like? Now, enjoy this video.
So when we debate on this whole question of what is the green economy, what would it look like?
It's being narrated at present as capitalism's best hope to create jobs, restore growth, and limit climate change, a magic formula or magic bullet.
Its strengths clearly lie in the fact that it is one of the very few projects currently that has a coherent, but not necessarily correct, proposal for addressing all three parts of the triple crisis. Its second strength lies in the fact that it has a strategy to create a social base for its own project.
So good thing about the ecological modernization is that they acknowledge that the current crisis, or the crisis, environmental crisis of the century, were the result of the industrialization and modernization. But when it comes to solution, they think that technological and procedural innovations will solve the problem. So In other words, they try to solve the contradiction between economy and ecology within the capitalist mode of production.
But it also, precisely because it's a floating signifier, because of its productive fuzziness, it creates the possibilities of false alliances, misreadings, of takeovers, of colonization, and so forth. It has a certain incoherence, and it's vulnerable to capture by the most powerful economic and political forces.
Malaysia has set a target towards sustainability development and green economy by 2020, especially in the context of resilient, low carbon, resource efficient and socially inclusive manner. Green growth will be the game changer in bringing Malaysia towards a sustainable socio-economic development path where improvements in quality of life are in harmony with the sustainability of the environment and natural resources. This is from Economic Planning Unit by 2015. To achieve this, the government will focus on 4 key areas in pursuing green growth for sustainability and resilience as follows. Number 1, focus area A, which is strengthening the enabling environment for green growth. Number 2, focus area B, which is adopting the sustainable consumption and production concept. The third one is focus area C, which is conserving natural resources for present and future generations. And number 4, focus area D, towards strengthening resilience against climate change and natural disasters. You can see the summary of focus area in the graphic provided. The Ministry of Energy, Green Technology and Water, in Malay we call it as Kementerian Tenaga Teknologi Hijau dan Air, abbreviated as KETA, is the Ministry of the Government of Malaysia that is responsible for sustainable energy, green technology, water supply and sewerage. Malaysian Green Technology Corporation, as we known as Green Technology Malaysia, is an organization under the purview of the Ministry of Energy, Green Technology and Water, which is KETA, charged with catalyzing green technology deployment as a strategic engine for socio-economic growth in Malaysia, in line with the National Green Technology Policy 2009. Green Tech Malaysia aspires to position Malaysia as a global hub for green technology by 2020 and subsequently develop the country into a green community by 2030. Their focus for Green Tech Malaysia is focus on meeting the objectives of the National Green Technology Policy 2009 by developing sustainable and widespread green technology markets. Next, strengthening the local green technology industry. Next, enhancing human competency and capacity in green technology applications. And also formulating support policies and financing frameworks to promote green technology growth. They are also promoting and creating awareness of green technologies. And we can see that these initiatives are carried out through Green Tech Malaysia, which there are 4 key flagship projects, namely Green Malaysia Plan, number 2, Green Procurement, number 3, Electric Mobility and Sustainable Living, across 5 key sectors, which are energy, transport, building, waste management, and also water management. This is another initiative of Malaysia towards green economy. As a conclusion, the research on sustainable development initiatives in Malaysia has enhanced awareness and understanding on sustainable development practices that are in place and are crucial for a sustainable future. Government has indicated its emphasis on green economy and green tourism in the 11 Malaysia Plan, which is 2016 until 2020. This plan requires the understanding and support of all Malaysians. Perhaps we, as individuals, must take up the responsibility to contribute our part to materialize a sustainable green environment for a healthier and cleaner living. The availability of natural resources must be maintained for the future generation by limiting the use of non-renewable resources by the current generations. That's all for today. Thank you for your attention.